What do you do when you find out the son you raised for 10 years isn't biologically yours, but you love him anyway? I sat in the doctor's office staring at the computer screen, trying to make the numbers make sense. My blood type, A positive. My wife Aria's blood type, A positive. Parker's blood type, B positive. The doctor's voice sounded far away as he explained that it's genetically impossible for two A positive parents to have a B positive child. Parker was still at the hospital overnight for observation after he had collapsed at soccer practice. Just dehydration and low iron. Nothing serious, but they'd run a full blood panel to be sure. And now my entire world was falling apart in this cold office. That night I drove home in complete silence, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. When I walked in, Aria took one look at my face and knew something was wrong. I asked her one question: "Is Parker mine?" She started crying before she even answered. I stood there watching my wife fall apart and realized my entire life had just become a lie. Parker just turned 10 years old last month, and for 10 years I've been there for every scraped knee, every bad dream, every first day of school. I never missed a moment because he's my son. Or at least I thought he was, as I listened to Aria tell me everything through tears. 10 years ago, we'd been going through a rough patch trying to have a baby. The stress was destroying us. She went to stay with her sister for a week. During that week, she met someone at a bar. One night, a mistake, something that meant nothing. When she came home, we reconciled. 2 weeks later, she found out she was pregnant. She convinced herself the baby was mine because the timing could have worked. When Parker was born and I held him for the first time, I fell completely in love. Aria saw how happy I was and couldn't bring herself to tell me the truth. Years passed. Parker grew up calling me dad. The longer it went on, the more impossible it became for her to confess. She'd been living with the guilt, but was too scared to lose our family. I asked if she knew who the father was. She said his first name, but nothing else. A stranger. No way to contact him. I moved into the guest room that night, but worse than the anger at Aria was the confusion about Parker. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his face. His smile that looks like Aria's. His laugh that fills up a room. The way he hugs me after school. The way he tells me about his day. The way he asks me to help with homework even when he doesn't need help because he just wants to spend time together. None of that changed. He was still the same kid, but suddenly everything felt like a lie. My parents called. Aria had told them everything. My mother was crying. My father kept saying I needed to think about what was best for Parker. My brother said I should leave Aria and start over. My sister said Parker was still my son regardless of blood. Everyone had opinions, but no one had answers. 3 days after finding out, Parker came home from the hospital. He ran up to me the second he walked through the door and hugged me. "I missed you, Dad." I held him and felt my heart break all over again. He had no idea. To him, everything was normal. I was his dad. Aria was his mom. We were his family. That night after Parker went to bed, Aria and I sat in the kitchen. She asked what I was going to do. I told her I didn't know. She asked if I wanted a divorce. I said probably. She asked if I was going to tell Parker. That question stopped me cold. What would I even say? How do you tell a 10-year-old his whole family is a lie? How do you shatter his entire world? Aria started talking about custody arrangements, about co-parenting, about making sure Parker knew I'd always be in his life. Then she said something that changed everything. "You'll always be his dad." Biology doesn't change that, but it did change it. Legally, I had no rights to Parker. If we divorced, Aria could decide I never saw him again. Without biological relation or legal adoption, I'd lose any custody battle. The kid I'd raised for 10 years could be taken away because of a DNA test. I looked at Aria and saw she'd known this the whole time. She'd let me fall in love with Parker, build my entire life around being his father, knowing she held all the power. Then I looked at the stairs where Parker had just gone to bed, where he trusted that tomorrow would be the same as every other day, where he believed his dad would always be there, and I realized something. Aria might hold the legal power, but I held something stronger. 10 years of memories, 10 years of love, a bond that no test could measure. I couldn't control what happened with Aria, but I could control my choice, and I chose Parker. I'm still in the guest room. Parker asks why Mom and I aren't sleeping in the same room anymore, and I don't have an answer that won't hurt him. We are going to the adoption office very soon. I don't know if I'll ever forgive Aria, but Parker is still my son, and no DNA test will ever change that.